Hi.
We're live.
Hi, we're live.
Welcome back to our little show, our little shit show. It just occurred to me. It just went through my head. Like, what would polyamory? Remember how I said I wanted to make a new dish for Thanksgiving called polyamory. What do you think the ingredients would be?
I think the different types of sweet potatoes and yams all together, and maybe even throw in like a regular potato, like a russet, just for fun.
Ew. Oh, you're fired.
And maybe some pork, because then it could be polyhammery.
Polyhammery. That's interesting. Sounds a little fusion, a little savory, a little sweet.
Yeah.
That's real popular these days.
Totally.
Yeah.
So popular.
Popular. Yeah.
So I would like to call out my, what was it? Tropical disco leisure slut outfit.
Yeah. Tropical disco leisure
Very happy
slut
with this outfit right now.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it works good on you. It works good on you because you've got ass to go with the tits. If I wore that, I would have like never-ending plateau ass.
Like it's just
it's
the
concave.
back that goes forever.
Yeah.
You have the longest back.
I got mama booty. I remember when Mom said that once to me. She goes like, I think you actually got your mama's body. And I went, no. Because I remember like watching her cooking all the eggs and the bacon grease and, on a oven, on a stove and just looking at that, melting plateau booty and just being like, no, say it isn't so.
Well, Mom told me I had Grandma Rice's body, and she had boobs that went over her belt. So I don't know if there's any way to win when someone says you have your grandma's body. It's going to go one way or the other. It's going to be like, no booty.
Yeah, even if they try and fix it. I meant when she was younger. No, too late.
Too late. Now I think I have front butt.
Yeah,
Forget
I've seen the ghost of, future ass, and I'm terrified.
You've seen the future plateau.
The future plateau, and it's going nowhere fast and flat. I know. I'm always surprised that. I think that's one of the reasons when I fart, it doesn't make much noise, is that there's really not flesh there to reverberate and flap open and blah, 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 blah,
That's
blah,
true.
Blah, blah.
It's just like.
Yeah. Plus, I think my first boyfriend really liked anal, and we were young, and we didn't know that you're supposed to do an enema and use lube. So he was just raw packing me, when as I crawled up the wall. Oh, fuck! So I might have a torn up butthole.
I'm now thinking of how around that same time, I think it was the same boyfriend. Remember, you said that you went when you had the warts. And she was like, "Oh, you have a lot of stool in there." So I'm really imagining that he was just pooping.
Probably why it was so packed.
He was he was packing a butt full of poo.
Yeah, my whole transverse colon was just like a traffic jam of turds, backed up, honking at each other.
There's this one semi that wants to get out.
Yeah, actually, there's a fleshy semi always trying to get in. Wrong way, you dick.
Oh my God.
That really played like a cartoon in my head.
Oh my God, did you?
And then it was coming face to face with my 18-wheeler hauling corn. What was that movie where they raced the trucks, the semis? Anyway.
Oh my God. Was it Smoking the Bandit? It was
I don't know.
Or
there was also one where they were possessed. It was a lot like that one too.
Oh, whoa. Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I'm thinking of the one where he had the monkey or like an orangutan, or was it a chimp, or I can't remember.
You're thinking about Clintoris Eastwood?
No, the much hairier.
Oh, Charles Bronson.
No. Oh, why am I blanking on him?
He was Sylvester Stallone.
Wasn't he with Lonnie Anderson?
Tom Selleck?
No, not Tom Selleck. The other hairy guy with the mustache. He was so popular. Bruce Brent Bright. Oh God, it'll come to me.
Not the bald guy.
No.
Bruce.
He was a total sex symbol.
Not Tom Selleck.
Someone needs that. Tom Selleck?
What?
No,
we both said that already.
That's not. No, not Tom Selleck. Nope.
And he had a mustache.
Yep.
Gave free mustache
Before.
rides. Okay.
Before, yeah.
Huh. And you think he was married to... Well, let's just look up who was married to Lonnie Anderson. Let's get to the bottom of this bullshit right now. I tell you
This
what.
guy. That guy. Anyway.
Okay.
He was the one in your butt making all the trouble.
My friend who knew Lonnie Anderson would know. I should call him. Who married Lonnie
Don't you love being able to hear belches?
Anderson? It's natural.
It is.
Okay.
Wait.
Burt Reynolds?
Burt Reynolds.
Oh, that douchebag. Yeah, sentient douchebag.
Because he had the movie where he was a truck driver, right? And they were like, I swear there was like a race or something, or maybe he was just always being chased by the cops or something.
I believe that. Smokey and the Bandit was what he played.
Smokey and the Bandit, yeah.
Right.
Okay, isn't that?
Yeah.
I think I said that. Yeah.
You
All right,
did?
I'm not crazy.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Thanks for preventing a sibling
Why are you
fight
gaslighting?
Whose side are you on, Michael?
That's right.
Yeah.
Who's buttering your toast?
Yes, hey. He's like, no one, so fuck both of you.
I ride alone.
Yeah, that's right. Lone dog. Yeah.
Hey,
And we're lone ham wallets. So today I'm just going to actually... Well, I'm never going to be the shutter the fuck upper, but you're the one that has all the wisdom to share.
I hope I do.
This recipe of love called polyamory.
Yes.
And what are the real ingredients to make polyamory work in real life?
Well, if anyone knows, I hope they tell me. I'm always looking for resources for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
we're still canaries in the mine shaft, as it were.
Oh yeah, definitely. So many canaries.
So
many dead canaries in my mine shaft
in your
right
colon.
now. Just kidding.
Your psychic colon.
I found this one article called "The 12 Pillars of Polyamory," and it was written by Kenneth R. Haslam, MD. And I actually found another website that kind of brought up the pillars and then had a little bit of narrative around all the pillars. And I thought the narrative was kind of nice around this too. So what I can do is just sort of like go through each, and then we can talk, like we can just kind of give our little feedback on it. And
yeah, school me, bitch.
some of them are such no-brainers. So we're just going to jump right into it. And
Yeah, like use lube when you do anal.
totally.
Yeah.
It's about that basic.
Yeah. Do an enema first.
Yeah. But don't do so much lube that it's like bright brown.
And then it creates like a Santorum-y, pre-semen Santorum.
So we have it up
Better-
on screen for us. It's
Better some pre-semen Santorum than to tore 'em up.
Oh yeah, you don't want to be all toe up. No.
I'm so punny today.
Better too much lube.
Yeah,
better
that's
to,
right.
Yeah, better to have brown sheets. So the first
use
is
lube.
authenticity. And basically the important thing behind that is knowing who you are and what you want from a relationship.
I'm never gonna have sex again if that's the prerequisite. Jesus Christ.
What are your needs and desires? So you can come to the relationship knowing who you are and what you want.
Right.
Or as close as you can to who you are and what you want.
Fair enough.
So that goes for friendships, that goes for monogamy, that goes for polyamory. That's kind of everything. If everyone can get to that space of authenticity, or at least maybe we can just say self-awareness.
Know thyself above all else.
Thyself, yes. Number 2, choice. So this is where we start to deviate. Most relationships are ones that we go into and we stay in. In polyamory, basically, you're saying, hey, today's Tuesday. I choose to be with you on Tuesday as well. And on Wednesday, I choose you as well. And it is like, it's basically the idea of it being chosen and choosing someone and choosing all your someones every single day, like unbundling your cable. You're not getting into a 1-year contract with your cable. You're getting a month-by-month contract with your cable. And you're choosing, I want HBO, but I don't really want Stars.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
So,
there's things I like about that as much as, when you first approach the idea of polyamory, there's this concept of like giving up security. But I remember a long time ago when I came of the age where I started contemplating, will I ever get married? And everyone starts asking you that, you know, like, when are you and so-and-so going to get married? There came that age and all those relationships. And now people don't ask anymore. They've given up and they're like, no, it's too late for you. But yeah, I remembered imagining the security that we're taught to imagine it as, you know. And it can be that security. It can also be a prison. And I always bucked the idea a little bit because I liked the idea of essentially like I never want anyone to feel like they have to be with me. Like if they want to leave, I want them to leave. And as much as I know that would hurt in the moment, I'd rather have that. So in polyamory, I did have a point. In polyamory that like the people that are choosing to be with you are actually actively choosing to be with you because they're not forced to be with you. Yeah. Unless you live together, and then there's, certain amounts of times you're kind of forced to be around each other to a certain extent.
Yeah, like maybe that day that you're really like, oh gosh, I wish I could really be alone, but you can't because you live with them or whatever.
Yeah, but maybe they're out dating the other person or something.
Maybe you know how to make space for each other in a healthy way.
Yeah, that's they're out lovely. With Polly or Marie or whatever.
Anyone.
Polly and Marie, maybe.
Oh,
I am so clever.
That's something that I got kind of into trouble with in past relationships that were monogamous, where someone would say, well, you have to because we're married or whatever.
You have to what? Fuck them?
No, just like basically they felt secure because I had to be there on a daily basis. And I was like, and I always said, no, actually that makes me feel insecure because then I don't feel like you're actually choosing me. Then I feel like you're like, oh, well, I made this contract. I guess this is what I'm doing. And, it didn't really make me feel very special, actually. Yeah. I felt like, well, okay, so 5 years ago when we got married, that felt pretty special. But now I'm like a habit rather
the ball and chain.
Yeah, I'm the ball and the chain instead of the person that you're just excited to see every day and you're like lighting up and all that. Not that everyone in polyamory lights up all the time. I mean, come on, let's get real. Some days are hard for anyone.
Yeah. You are probably less likely to have your relationships suffocated by overexposure, like smothered, less likely.
Yeah, definitely.
And that said too, like I never want to sound like I'm so like pro polyamory for everybody because like if you saw my comments on Mom and Dale's pictures, I was like, God, you guys are almost making me believe in monogamy just a little bit. Yeah, because some people really work it out and it looks beautiful.
Yeah. And I think you compromise, and compromise happens in any relationship because at some point needs may not align, and it is. And I do get the feeling that they choose each other every day. Still, they do.
Maybe not through COVID every day.
Yeah,
that was hard on every relationship. Oh. I don't know anything. I'm just saying. Like,
my God.
Yeah, COVID was the acid dip test of you know. I always thought that going to Burning Man with your partner was the acid dip test of like, if you could survive this, you could survive anything. But I think COVID, like, oof.
That was really it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what broke mine. I was like, oh my God, that was the final death blow. Yeah. That was the Mortal Kombat, finish him.
Yeah. Right. It was a long time coming, but when you had no escape, then
when I couldn't,
it brought it
to
a head,
office.
And you had to lance the festering boil, like Dr. Zit,
Dr. Pimple Popper.
Yeah.
Next one is transparency. So this takes a slightly different meaning in non-monogamous relationships in which individuals might have arrangements about how much detail they want to know about. In general, it's important to have high levels of transparency in relationships. Don't keep secrets from your spouse, your friends, your family. This thing is a move. Hello.
Keep the dick in front of you.
And you do have to be transparent and also be gentle about how you communicate, because sometimes these things are going to be different for people to hear. And actually, this is off to the left side of my mouth.
Sorry.
Oh, there we go. But check in with your relationships every now and again, and check in and make sure that people are getting the amount of communication that they're feeling like works for them.
Yeah.
How much transparency they want.
Yeah. That's. I saw a relationship therapist with a boyfriend, and one of the things that guy he described that as being as a temperature check.
Yeah.
Like take a temperature check occasionally, not just when shit's hitting the fan, but just occasionally checking in to see, if any feelings are coming up, how you doing, anything you want to talk about, so that things don't become a festering boil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Even
And
though
then
they're fun
you
to
have
pop.
to lance it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to state that it's great to agree kind of early on in your relationship about how much detail each person wants. And they might want different levels of detail. So I tend to be like, oh, I'd rather just kind of know things that might affect my health and welfare, or, that might be something that limit my ability to spend time with you, something like that. So basically something that becomes like a health concern or a resource issue.
Right.
But other than that, I tend to not want a whole lot of detail, because I'm like, no, I just want to be here spending time with you and like talking about things. And I don't feel like I need to hear everything. Just like I don't want to hear every time you pooped or had a meal or whatever, it's like
inhaled, exhaled. Well, what it brings up for me is the concept of compersion again. So for people that haven't seen every show we've had since before this, compersion is the act of practicing what's considered the opposite of jealousy, which is like empathetically being happy for your partner and maybe, the other person that they're with. Like, get over yourself and practice being happy that there's someone else that loves the person that you love as well, and is making their life happier and more, exciting and enriching. But so why compersion came up for me just now and thinking about that was that I was thinking about how knowing details could be related to someone's capacity or interest in compersion, because, for instance, if some people have too many details, then they might have to practice compersion because it brings up more jealousy for them. Whereas actually the details, some people might want more details in that transparency, because sometimes actually hearing the details of, let's say they're sexual or emotional, and hearing about the joy and titillation their partner's having will actually help them feel more comforting, happier for their partner. So it just depends on if it's triggering for you in a good way or a bad way. But knowing your boundaries, knowing your detail boundaries. Yeah,
definitely. And stick with those. And you have to stick with what you agree to there. Like, you can't be like, ooh, my partner's not going to like it when I say this one thing. Well, if you agreed to give that level of detail, you have to do it anyway. Sorry, but you have to. And the other thing to watch out for here is to make sure that you're not like processing with your romantic partners too much. Like, especially you don't want to be processing with your romantic partners about your other romantic partners. That is stuff that you could reserve for friendships or your therapist or whatever. But like, you don't want to give anyone so much transparency that you're actually like talking about your other lovers with them, your lover. And that just,
when you should be focusing on that lover.
Yeah.
Again, unless they're really into that, to each his own.
Yeah.
Some people might really get off on that. But generally speaking, I would say, that's the rule of thumb is focus on who you're with.
Yep.
Not your exes or not your other lovers, but the quality time and the connection of who you're with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the next one is, number 4 is trust. And the article actually says, duh, every relationship should be founded on trust. But what does that mean? It is the firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. So in your relationship, you might assess how much you're willing to put into that person, or how much time, in terms of whether they'll be honest with you, whether they'll follow through with their commitments, and so on. If you find yourself hesitating to trust someone, there's probably something behind that.
Yeah.
And it could be something that's just you, or it could be something that you're picking up on with them. And that goes back to, again, authenticity. Know yourself. If you have a hard time trusting a partner, I, for example, might go, oh, that's probably me, because I don't have an easy time trusting people, whereas other people, if they find trust comes a little more easily and there's
me.
Yeah. And if you're having a hard time trusting someone, that's probably a red flag for you to go like, ooh, something's not quite right.
Yeah, that's true. Because, I've always been probably too trusting, ignoring red flags and things like that, just because, I just love to get to that attachment and the intimacy,
It feels so good.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
And rocking the shocker, all that good stuff.
Shaka rocka.
Yeah. Shaka rocka. Yeah.
Yeah, so that one's an easy one. All right.
Honesty.
Let's get to the
Pretty
next
straightforward.
one. Yeah. Duh.
Yeah.
Okay, trust. Gender equality is the next one. So, and this one gets pretty interesting in non-monogamous relationships. It might take on specific importance because you have more than two people involved in a relationship. So,
right.
Everyone should really pay close attention to how much they're putting gendered restrictions on their partners and what purpose that serves, because that can really...
Can you give an example, by the way, of a gendered restriction?
Yeah. I'll read a little bit more and then I'll do that.
Okay.
But even in monogamous relationships, you might examine your social patterns and your division of labor. And so when we're talking about gender restrictions, basically sometimes when partners are starting out, and let's say both partners are either heteroflexible, bisexual, pansexual, something like that, they might go like, oh, well, it really feels threatening to me that you might be with another woman, but we can have an open relationship as long as I'm seeing a woman and you're seeing another man. So that way...
So you're saying that as the woman
As
to
the woman,
man.
I'm saying that to the man.
Okay, gotcha.
And that way, I feel like, no one can actually take my place and they can't provide the same service I provide or whatever,
Right.
So it's like...
Or the threat is equally balanced.
Right. So
like, I've got another go-to,
right,
just in case.
Right.
I've got a backup plan in case you hightail it with newbie boobies.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's interesting, if that is something that you're doing in your relationship, I think it's really interesting to examine why you feel that way. Why do you feel like someone of the same gender is less of a threat? And why does it feel less threatening to you? And is different less threatening for real? And do you feel like maybe you're just valuing yourself for what you can do for them or for a specific body part or something like that? Like you could be like, well, I know that if you're seeing another guy, he doesn't have titties like me, or whatever.
Right.
Like, are you in a sense kind of like devaluing yourself as an entire person? Because we know that any relationship that I have with someone is going to be entirely different than the relationship that I have with a different person and that they have with a different person.
Right.
Like every relationship is that combination of those people, whoever they are.
Yeah.
And that the value that you get from the relationship is the combination of the people, not any one specific person.
Right. It makes sense to me that it would kind of be like, if you generally get a concept that your partner is heteronormative, there's, if I'm kind of like feeling into like what insecurity would that be about if I imagine having that come up for me, it would be that, especially if exploring polyamory is a newer thing, that, and knowing that my partner is more heteronormative and they're seeing someone that's the opposite sex, then there's always the potential or this fear that this conditioning that we have to couple up could be more threatening. Like, if they really fall in love with each other, then I could get abandoned. Even though we've agreed to do polyamory together, all is fair in love and war. It's like when it comes down to it, people are they're gonna chase the new relationship energy high and all the amazing, love hormones that go with that. So I could see where it'd be, more
It can
threatening.
be really, it can be super threatening. You know, when you can tell your partner's got a little bit of that energy happening, like it can be. And I mean, I would say my biggest point here for people is, excuse me, I had to burp. Comparison is a killer. Don't compare yourself to any of your partner's partners.
Right.
Don't compare yourself.
Right.
You are unique. You are a snowflake. You bring 50% of the equation to every relationship that you're in. And just know that whatever you bring to that relationship is completely unique, and that nothing compares to you, as Sinead O'Connor would say, and Prince.
Compares to you.
Yeah. So then in that case, if you look at it like that, like I believe in my bones, like nothing compares to me. You would be the most threatening thing in the world because you are most similar to me, right?
Yeah. Let's talk about this scenario.
Let's not date
make
the
my
same.
butthole
Let's
pucker.
not date the same person, because yes, then we're getting into that like, oh, we are kind of similar, so comparison's not. Don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like other than that, you just have to just trust that you are so completely unique that whoever it is that you're in a relationship with is going to be having a unique experience.
Yeah. And that's also like, that brings up to me that, like, you know, I have had the experience with best friends of mine that they have found the same people attractive I have because, you know, it makes sense. You have so much in common.
Yeah.
But also partners of mine finding my best friends really attractive.
Yep.
And sleeping with them and things like that. Won't name any names, but yeah, so I think that's a really important thing to put into your little commitment agreement. You know, those kinds of details. Like when me and the first boyfriend that I had, that we tried, you know, being above board polyamorous with. That was one of the things I said. Is I said, like, okay, you know, here's the deal. Don't fuck anyone in any one of my bands. Don't fuck any of my best friends. Don't fuck any of my close friends.
Yeah.
You know, and I would
That's
appreciate
fair.
it if you would like dip outside of the pool of our community, which she didn't do. But the other,
But that was a solid rule.
yeah, it was. And one of
was
the other
good.
things that we came up with was, for me, I didn't want details. You know, I said, like, I don't want to hear who, I don't want to hear how, what, when, where, nothing. You know,
Yeah.
then I don't have to think about it, and I don't have to practice comperting.
Right. Yeah.
Ignorance was bliss in that regard for me.
Well, it is. And I have to say that's part of the reason I feel that way is like, I'm cool if you go to someone else's birthday party that I'm not invited to. I just kind of don't want to hear all the details about it, you know,
Right.
because then I might feel a little like, oh, well, I wasn't invited and that kind of sucks.
Well, then there's just FOMO. I mean, FOMO happens in all relationships.
Yeah, even if it's Tuesday night and I don't feel like going out and I just want to go get in my jammies, I still might feel FOMO if I know something fun is happening.
And, you know, we're all egotistical. We all want the invite. You
Yeah.
know, it's like
Yeah.
we're all still kids that don't want to be the last one picked for the team, no matter how big we get, you know? I mean, even if you can handle that, it feels good to get the invite,
Oh my God.
you know?
I actually recently had a dream where I was at a sex party with a bunch of friends and we were picking each other like softball teams.
For an orgy?
Yeah, for
Oh.
partnering up.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And were you the last one standing?
no, I wasn't. I
Oh,
wasn't.
he
No,
died.
I picked one of my partners a little too emphatically and everyone looked at me like, chill out. God, what's
Yeah.
your problem?
Yeah.
It was so dorky. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, and then last night my dream was about Robert Downey Jr. was playing a doctor, and he had no pants on, and he had an extremely hairy butt, and
Wow.
and I was like part of the scene, and so I'm like on an operating table, and I pop up, and I'm like, look at his ass, and then I like take like one of those Spinal Tap needles, and I put it like up against his rectum, and then I'm
Ooh.
listening to it, and I'm like, look, hey, I'm listening to his butthole through a needle, and then some spinal
Wow.
fluid came out
Ew.
out of his butthole.
Weird ass dream.
I know. I
No
have a
pun intended.
Weird ass.
Jesus
I have a weird
Christ.
ass brain.
Yeah, you
Anyway.
were listening to his Robert Frowny Jr. But okay,
Through
that one wasn't very funny.
through a
sorry.
giant gauge needle.
Yeah, you got to throw it all out there, for some of them to land. So
that's right. Someone wants a pun.
Yeah.
All right. The next one is another no-brainer. Honesty. So related.
I thought we already did that. Oh, trust was the other
we
no-brainer.
did trust.
Okay. Honesty.
You must be honest with others, and let's just say honest about what you want, honest about what's okay, honest about what's not okay, honest about what you want from moment to moment, honest about what your fears are, honest about as much as you can possibly be honest about.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just be honest.
Just do it.
Well, be honest.
And isn't that one of the main reasons too that people get into polyamorous relationships or find them attractive is the concept of being able to be free when just free with the decision that you've made and not to have to hide your feelings for other people, your impulses, your attractions. That's the great thing is along with honesty comes freedom.
Honesty, yes.
Yeah,
hand in hand
like
with
two hippies in an orgy.
Freedom, yeah.
With honesty comes freedom. Another polyamorous relationship.
Yeah, baby. I do have to say that in the past, I may have done some lies by omission. And I think that a lot of that, maybe let's say the flip side to honesty is judgment. Don't be a judgmental butthole in your relationships. Like, come to people with I feel statements, come to them with your expressing your feelings, but don't come with judgment because then you are more likely to get lies of omission and some deceit.
Right, that's true. That's a really good point. And a lot of the time too, I think that people they judge that which they don't understand. But they also judge in moments of fear, when fear comes up for people because fear is one of the things that we use to detach emotionally, like from other people. And that's, I learned that from reading one of those attachment books. They were saying that that's what avoidants do a lot of the time in their judgment of other people, is they're trying to justify the reason for pulling back from you. They need to pull back so that they can downregulate their emotions.
Yeah.
But they don't know how to just do that. So they judge you so that they can justify pulling away, saying, you're not worth my love. And so that's a way that we deal with our fear and our anxiety is by judging and justifying emotional detachment.
Yeah, I mean, fascinating. It must hurt really bad to feel hurt by someone that you really want to remain attached to and to not have the ability to do that or to not believe in your own strength to do that.
Yeah. I think it could be a way too of kind of like deflecting. Do we have a question? Yeah. Oh boy, a question. We've got a question.
One of the elements I love is the present moment with my partners. These moments are often good ones because we don't live together 24/7. Yeah. And therefore rarely argue about the dishwasher organization.
Well said. Well said.
So true.
Yeah. That's what I've often brought up, with people in talking about how now, after many years of serial monogamy and having a lot of long-term relationships, in fact, pretty much only that, loving getting to the place where I am really invested and committed to living by myself. Well, even though I have roommates, I love having roommates, but not shacking up with a partner, because I remember how many times it was like, who took out the garbage and whose turn it is and how to do the recycling. How many, boner killers there are living together.
Oh my God.
All those moments of having to figure out domestic bullshit. And, the thing I noticed about having roommates that I find interesting is that now that I have roommates, I think that when you're in an intimate relationship, there's a lot of, figuring out your power dynamic, and also a lot of tendencies to be interpreting other people's actions towards you, how they live with you, and whether or not they're respecting your opinions and your needs. There's more of an enmeshed power struggle that's almost always happening, where I even noticed that shift in myself in a tremendous way living with roommates now. I don't take it personally, how people are doing things as much. It's sad
Yeah.
to say I give them a lot more freedom of choice and space to do things how they want to. I don't feel like we have to agree on everything, how to do everything. And that feels good. I like that space that I even am able to give people. And I like this being able to get that space back, you know?
That's a huge one. And I'm trying to think of which one that falls between, like which one of the 12 pillars that falls into, because it's almost like authenticity. It's like knowing yourself and not over identifying with the way that someone does something or what they're doing. Like, you know,
Is boundaries one of them? Because like to me, that's what comes up for me is just boundaries. It's like how they describe it in that book. I think maybe it's called Boundaries, but they said knowing where you stop and I begin.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah.
You know, being able
big
to
one.
let people have their boundaries so that you don't get I think that's one of the things that I find smothering looking back in all my monogamous relationships is feeling like we have to agree on how to do everything together. And now in my last relationship, I remembered that, you know, saying that over and over again is like, I don't want to have to agree with you on everything.
No,
like,
hell no.
I really love not agreeing with you on everything. As long as we can do it peacefully. Oh God, what a relief.
Yeah.
Like I just don't agree. And that's fucking fine.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that might fall under self-determination, perhaps. But we'll get there. We'll find out.
Okay,
We'll see if that rings true.
Yeah, right.
Next is open communication. And this one kind of falls into everyone's communication preferences. What type of communication do you prefer? Are you a phone call person? Are you a live only person? Are you texting? How often do you like to be communicated with? Like what makes you feel nurtured as a partner?
Right.
Some people love having downtime where they don't hear from anyone.
Right.
And that makes them feel safe and nurtured. And other people like to have kind of constant, like, hi, I'm thinking of you. Hello, how are you today?
Yeah.
You know, and just like, and that makes them feel good. And so I think it's good to have that discussion early and sort of fall into a rhythm and just know that these things are important, that how you approach people and how often.
Yeah, what
is
they
very
need to feel
important.
loved and safe in the relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well said. I agree.
Yeah. And there is no right or wrong answer, of course.
And don't you find, like, I find it interesting how much I've changed through the years. And that reiterates that, you know, even more that there's no right or wrong answer, because what used to be right for me is wrong now.
Yeah.
You know, I would feel smothered by
Exactly.
what used to feel right.
Yep.
And now
exactly.
I'm like, oh, God, you know, I get it. You love me.
Hi. No, I do love. Yeah, I do love. I love little things that are just like, hey, I'm thinking of you. Like that just makes me feel special. And then also, there doesn't need to be a big novel behind it. It's just like, hey, thinking of you. Hi, you know,
Right.
Like that feels good, but it doesn't have to be like a novella.
Right. Well, and it's good when someone's transparent about, like, you know, whether it's a bid for reconnection because they're feeling, you know, needy or insecure, having a need, or whether they're just, you know, it's just literally a bubble of thinking about you that comes up that doesn't have an agenda or a need back or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah.
hi, you're cute. It could be that. Next is non-possessiveness. Oh my God, if we could all learn this one. Repeat after
amen,
me.
hallelujah.
Repeat after me.
Amen.
I do not own anyone, nor do I own their time,
Yeah.
nor do I own their
Freedom,
attention.
freedom,
I own only my own.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, there are a lot of automatic thoughts that are going to come up in relationships, especially like if you're in love with someone and you feel a deep level of intimacy, there might be a lot of automatic thoughts that come up for you. Things that you don't even realize are automatic thoughts, like, you know, especially if you do live with someone, like that if you live with someone, you might be assuming that you own a certain amount of their time. Guess what? You don't. Unless you both agree to it, you really don't.
Yep.
So you do have to do the work to get past those automatic thoughts. And like the way that I've found that works for me, everybody's different. I journal. So if I'm having hard feelings, I start writing about it and I go, so why am I feeling this way? And why is that? And why is that? And you keep asking why, and then what, and then what, and then what, until you get to some sort of kernel that's where you're going to find that sort of original cognitive distortion where you can get to that and then you can go, aha, I got you. Now I'm going to work on dismantling you.
Yeah, right. Like what's the splinter?
Yep.
You know, and if you can also clarify what's the ask. If you have an ask that you can come to. You know, like I realize this about myself and, you know, what I want or need or I'm asking is this.
Yeah, absolutely. It is so perfectly great to ask for things. That doesn't make you possessive. It doesn't make you needy or anything like that. And it's okay to be uncomfortable sometimes and be alone sometimes. And like for me, I always had a great sense of power in being someone's number one. I was like, you can love other people, just don't love anybody more than you love me. And then the day that I was finally nobody's number one, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm laying here in my bed and I'm nobody's number one. And that felt really, it was weird. Like it was a bizarre feeling and it was okay. Like it felt very much like, okay, I'm just myself and I'm just going to allow myself to be myself and I'm going to accept everyone else for who they are and again, accept how they come to me. And hopefully they accept how I come to them.
Right. That's one thing I'm really into lately as well is being, you know, a recovering serial monogamist and always being someone's number one is really wanting to conquer, developing a sense of safety and well-being, being absolutely by myself. And I intentionally use the word by myself and not the word alone because I like the idea of by myself representing it's my relationship with myself.
Yeah.
And so I've been working on, you know, really cultivating how to, you know, lay in bed and have a sense of well-being, still connect with a sense of love and self-love and even connection with other people that aren't there, which I hope is a, you know, feeling that stays with me and a practice that stays with me, even if I end up with, you know, partners in the future and stuff is like, you know, instead of just over-identifying with that one partner and doing that interdependent dance that can oftentimes be the thing that leads to suffocating the relationship because you try to get too many of your needs met from that one partner, being diversifying those needs and intentionally feeling love and connection and gratitude and appreciation for so many more people.
I agree.
Girl.
And that's kind of an exercise that I started doing a while ago where if I felt, I don't know, I don't know why exactly I started it. Like maybe I just started and I was having too much energy for someone and I was like, God damn, I got to get this energy off of me, you know? And it made it hard to sleep and stuff like that. So I laid down.
Even when you were by yourself?
Yeah, when I was by myself. And I just wanted to just be by myself. I wanted to just let go of their energy. So I started practicing letting go of people specifically, of being like,
one at a time or all people in general?
In general, and if anyone needed to specifically be let go of, like they were just occupying too much of my mind, heart, body, or whatever as I'm trying to fall asleep at night, that was making me uncomfortable. So I was like, well, I kind of need to release everybody every day. To just start from...
You needed to release.
And then there was Pornhub.
I had to eventually say it. It was just like, I'm not going to be able to concentrate until I say it. So, sorry. She said release.
Pornhub, release.
Yeah, exactly. Bukaki. Yeah. So,
I just,
Yeah, gotcha.
Anyway.
So, releasing other people, the concept of attachment to them.
Yeah.
Like being...
And releasing kindly and with love and everything, but just kind of being like, and
like
there
returning to yourself, returning to residing within yourself and having your sense of well-being come from within.
Yep, exactly.
Instead of without.
No.
I'm without. Oh, no.
Next is consensual. This is a big sticky one. It's really fun.
It's the magic word these days. It's the new hot word.
Consensual.
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 Mine is very sensual.
Yeah. So here we come. The definition. is going to be flashing on the screen in a moment.
Oh, that's a big one. Holy shit.
It requires informed consent. So again, back to that honesty and openness and trust that we did in the beginning. So you can't consent to something you don't know about. So it is very important to tell your partners about things that they would need to consent to. And again, that's an agreement. What do they want to know about? What do they want to have consent to? And when are they just like, hey, you do you, boo? It's good to have these check-ins in monogamous relationships, non-monogamous relationships, friendships, everything. Just how are you feeling about us and the level of communication that you're getting? And
it kind of ties in all the trust and the honesty and the transparency too, because you have to be transparent about everything for them to have informed consent.
Yes, exactly.
And pardon me, but I have a sinus infection, so I'm going to be a real lady and just like snort decongestant on the air. So sorry. Keep going, Shar.
So I think that one thing that is troublesome here in this definition, they get into they kind of start getting into agreements ahead of time. And so, of course, my mind goes to okay, so you're going to a party with your partner and there's going to be other people that maybe you're interested in playing with or something like that. So this is specifically like sexy party sort of stuff.
Gotcha.
But it can sometimes be problematic to assume that you can determine the future. So it's okay to kiss other people. What about dates? Stuff like that. Well, I think it's good to have general boundaries when you're going into something, but you can't always know everything that you're going to want to do. So make space, as much space as you and your partners can make, for what each person wants and needs. It would be maddening at times to be like, so do you think you're going to have sex with anyone tonight? I'd be like, I don't even know who's going to be there. I can't say that I'm going to want to have sex with anyone.
Yeah.
And I also can't guarantee I'm not going to want to, but the question is, what are you comfortable with?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it isn't just about what I want, it's about what we agree upon. So it is consensual.
Yeah, and asking that person, what does that bring up for you, that concept? When you have that idea in your head, how does it make you feel? What comes up for you?
Yeah, and what can we do to make you feel good? And if that's a hard no, then accept it, and talk about that. Maybe don't talk about it before the party, maybe after the party. And what this brought up for me is checking in and just being courteous and be aware of your partners. So if you're at a party, and imagine you went to a party with your best friend, you don't just wander off and leave them alone if they're having a bad time. Sex parties are the same way. If your partner's not having fun, if they're not connecting with anyone, and you're having a great connection with someone, you don't just ditch them because our agreement was it was okay for me to have sex.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel good for anyone, and it's not going to feel good for you the next day when you're all sober and your partner's sad.
Yeah, unless you've consented ahead of time that you're both allowed to be complete narcissistic sociopaths when you get to the party together. And then that's fine.
Yeah.
As long as it's consensual narcissism and sociopathy.
Yeah, we agree to ignore each other and act like we don't know each other. Exactly. Perfect. Just check in, be open, use I feel statements, please, and thank you.
Yeah. Don't fall into the blame game.
Yes. No. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes to be judged. Nobody likes to be proven wrong all the time. For me, if I'm wrong, I'll be like, okay, I'm wrong. Can we move on now? This is actually physically
No, but I want to punish you.
Yeah.
Can't I punish you? I really get off on the power I feel when I punish you.
Okay.
I'm right and you're wrong. My ego loves this game. Come on.
Flog me.
Rub your nose in it. Yeah. No spank you.
Exactly. Oh my God, I thought of spanky when you said rub your nose in it. Next is self-determination. Yeah. Oh yeah. Spanky. Oh, that could be so weird. Oh my God. Remember that time we were talking about getting someone in here to spank us every time we use our filler words? We should still do that.
Yeah, we talked about getting a GIMP.
Yeah.
Because we both have, we can't say what they are or else people are going to start to notice them.
Yeah. No, but but the day that we bring in the person, okay, if we don't have a guest next week, let's do that episode. Okay. Where we have the words that we're not allowed to say and we get spanked every time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, God,
Ripped
what
by
a
the
tangent.
GIMP.
Oh, my God. So we have 3 more to do and 10 minutes to do it in.
We got this. We got this.
Right. I believe in us.
No squirrels allowed.
Next is self-determination. And so, yes, self-determination is my favorite feeling. And it's a great feeling to recognize in your partners as well. The acceptance of others exactly as they are and how good it feels to be fully accepted for exactly who you are. How amazing it feels to come to the arms of a partner who welcomes you as your authentic self. God damn, that's hot.
That is hot.
That feels so good.
What's funny is I'm glad you explained it because that's not how I would have interpreted that. When I think of the term determination, I think of it, my mind associates determination with motivation. Like I am determined to get this shit done and to clean my room. I am determined.
No, it's like definition of self.
Right.
And oh my God, the most amazing feeling ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a wonderful thing.
God. Yeah. Okay, so next.
Well, I was just going to say too, and the opposite of that would be, I would imagine, I mean, you can throw stuff in there too, but like conditional love, like, well, no, I only love you when you do these things for me, when you make me feel this way and that way, instead of, I just love you for who you are. I love and accept you for who you are.
Yeah. And I really love this about you, but I don't love that about you. So could we work on that? I mean, unless that is something that's like a toxic communication or something like that. Okay, yeah, we should work on that. But But if it's
all too often people try to change each other and they try to turn them into the thing they feel like they want and need so that they can feel the way they want to feel instead of looking within and becoming that person.
Yes. Be your own damn snowflake. Don't try and make someone else into a snowflake that fits you.
Yeah, you'll melt their snowflake.
Yeah, you don't want to melt someone's snowflake. That's like yucking their yum, and that's horrible.
Yeah, it is horrible.
Speaking of which, sex positive. Be sex positive. Everybody be sex positive, please. Sex is fun, and it is part of the human experience at any level, whatever your relationship with sex is. No slut shaming, please.
Unless they're into that.
That's part of your
dirty little slut.
That's part
You're
of your
dirty little slut.
That's part of your agreements, of course. No yucking someone else's yum. You know what? Yeah. Whatever you like is what you like. Let's accept that. And that goes back to self-determination again. It's like whatever your preferences are, your proclivities, whatever, accept those in yourself and accept those in others and give a real no when you don't feel great about something, because then people can really, really trust your yes.
Right. I like that term that I heard through, I don't know, maybe it was either you or my roommate that was, if it's not a fuck yeah, it's a no.
Yep. That is definitely sex positive Portland kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
If it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And that is so true. Oh, we have women are never wrong, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
That is
well,
true.
if you want to get laid, that's true. So, or ever get a BJ, then that's very true.
I mean, do you ever want to have sex again? Because if you do.
Do you want to be right or do you want to have sex?
You can. I mean, I think the real saying is like you can be on the side of love or being right, and you can't be in both places at the same time. But I would say that this works in the way of like saying like, do you want to get laid or do you want to be right? That's what Michael said, and that is very well said. He's been trained well.
Michael knows
by some Jedi woman. They gave a good BJ. He was like, all right, I'm wrong about everything. Suck it. Cup the balls. Pull a little.
A little knob gobbling is worth being wrong, right?
Oh, totally. Knob gobbler. It's so funny that you said knob gobbling because I just wrote a TikTok that I'm going to do for Thanksgiving, a little video that has one of those turkey filters.
Yeah.
And it's about ordering a knob gobbler turkey.
Oh my God,
if you want
gobbler.
big, hot, juicy breasts like this on your Thanksgiving table, order a knob gobbler. It goes on and on. But anyway, I don't want you to not get to the last one.
So number 12 is compersion.
It's the last one. Oh my God, we have so much time now.
And do we really need to define compersion again? No, we don't really. It's called the opposite of jealousy. Basically, compersion could be your partner gets a new car and they're so happy about the new car. They love the new car. You feel joy because they feel joy. The same could be true for them getting a knob gobble or whatever. It is you feeling joy for their joy. Now, I'm going to throw my huge 2 cents in here.
Go, Char.
And say, compersion's fantastic.
I thought that's what you named your tits. I was waiting for your tits.
Huge
2 cents.
Huge 2 cents. It's great when compersion happens, and it's a fantastic goal to work toward, but also accept when it doesn't happen. It doesn't mean you're doing polyamory wrong. It doesn't mean you're a jealous person. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you have a defective attachment style. It just means that sometimes compersion doesn't happen. And sometimes it's because maybe you didn't sleep enough. Maybe you didn't.
You mean like it's not effective when you say that it doesn't happen?
Or just like.
Or that you're not trying.
Sometimes you're not feeling
it doesn't
compersion.
work.
Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't happen. Like sometimes
you don't want to fucking do it.
Yeah, sometimes you can't do it. And don't feel like a failure on the days that compersion doesn't come to you.
Right, like
it's
if you
really
just
okay.
choose that, you're just going to sit and feel jealousy, that you can do that.
I have done that.
Uh-huh.
I've done it, and it's uncomfortable, and I survived. It was great. I survived, and actually I recovered in an astoundingly short period of time because I allowed myself to feel it, and I didn't go, oh my God, I'm such a loser, because normally compersion's a little bit easier, but sometimes you just can't do it.
Well, what I imagine is that it just takes a lot more conscious energy to do compersion than it does sit with a little jealousy. Because, if your compersion really sounds like a real practice that you have to do, or it's almost like meditative, or imagine empathetically connecting with your partner and imagine how good they feel when they're with this other person and just connect with those emotions. It sounds like there's a lot of visualizing that has to happen with it. Whereas if you're just tired and you got other shit to do and you don't want to focus that much, maybe just sitting with a little bit of jealousy and developing tolerance around it, or acceptance is a fine thing to do too.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of trying to constantly escape these negative emotions.
Yep.
Just sit with it and accept it. And, maybe the resistance is worse than just opening up to it and feeling it.
Yeah.
Or thinking it needs to go away.
Yeah, exactly. And jealousy can be a great indicator for you about maybe something that you need that maybe you didn't know you needed. Like you say, oh my God, my partner is just really on their best behavior with this person, and I'm feeling jealous because of that, because they don't bring their best behavior to me. Well, okay, now that indicates to me that maybe I would like to ask for some things from my partner that would feel good for me. And maybe that would allow me to get to compersion. Maybe it won't. But whatever it is, it can be a great indicator. Yes, sometimes jealousy can just feel like not being invited to a party and you're like, wah, wah. And in that case, you can look at your situation and go like, have I had a shitty day? Did I forget to eat lunch? Am I too busy at work, and my partner's off having fun, and so compersion's really hard for me right now? Then be in acceptance of compersion isn't going to come today.
Yeah. And do you think it's fair to say that jealousy, the root of it is fear, right? Like fear and insecurity, like I think the root of jealousy is like, I'm afraid that you're going to like them better and ultimately leave me. Or you're going to want to spend, basically, I'm going to have to sacrifice. You're going to be taken away from me to some degree where, how, why I don't want you to.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I don't want to.
Yeah. Or you're giving them something that you don't give me, or something like that. Exactly.
Or you like them better. Sometimes it's just, we have egos.
Or they're younger, they're hotter, they're thinner, they're curvier, whatever it is. Like it's it's often there's
It's
some
comparing.
sort of threat. It's
Yeah.
usually comparing or it's
Ourselves,
fear or it's
competition.
or scarcity. You're worried about scarcity. Like maybe you just barely get enough from this partner and you're like, you took 3 hours from me.
Right.
How could you? Because I feel like I barely get enough.
Right.
And that, again, that's a great indicator that you need to go back to that person in that relationship and say, wow, I feel like I need a little bit more. And this is what it looks like.
Right. And who knows, it's an interesting thing. There are so many faces to polyamory, and there's so many effects that it can have on your relationship. And who's to say that someone like going away and having, their cup filled by someone else for a while won't actually result in them coming back to you and having more to give you, more fulfillment from their own, relationship with the rest of the world, someone else, and then coming back and feeling less dependence on you and less of your dependence on them, and they feel more whole and independent and free, and that resonates in your relationship. Their cup runneth over into your cup together.
Totally. And I so believe in that. Like the times when I have been welcomed back to someone and I've had a great time and I feel very complete and I feel good, and I also feel so grateful for them. Like, wow, you really accept me. You really love me for who I am. And that can allow you to have more to bring back to that relationship. And again, it's that self-acceptance and self-determination and all that good stuff. Some more beginner's notes. Oh, God, we're out of time.
Oh.
All right. So
my.
Polyamory beginner's notes. And these are just kind of my notes on the side. I was talked to a partner about this, and we just were like, hey, and there's a few things that can be helpful in the beginning. One is like, if you're just starting out, maybe you schedule your dates on the same nights. So that's kind of an easy one, because then you're less likely to get into a situation where it's like, oh yeah, well you had a great night because you had a date tonight, but I didn't. I had to feed the kids and I had to wash the laundry and
the devil's advocate though point. I also could see where both people in the beginning as noobs would end up being distracted on their dates, so it could backfire.
Oh, well, they need to learn. I mean, they're going to have to get used to that.
Yeah, it's true.
Because one person staying home and being miserable. And one of the reasons I think this is that in the beginning, this can be especially if you're in a relationship and you're transitioning into polyamory in a relationship, it can be really difficult being the one who's left at home. Oh my God, it's so hard. And then your partner comes home and you're feeling really hurt and you're feeling not so happy. And then they have a negative experience when they come home to you. You're already having a negative kind of feedback around polyamory. And this can get into quid pro quo, Clarice. Well, I didn't have very much fun when you were on your date. So now I'm going to make sure that I smell like a weenie when I come home, and then you're not going to be happy.
Which is like another toxic relationship dynamic called scorekeeping that people should be aware of and never do.
Don't scorekeep. Another thing that I think is a silly rule, this is only my opinion, is sex, not love. Making a rule like, it's okay for you to date someone, but you can't fall in love with them. Okay, can you really control who you fall in love with? I kind of can't. I mean, I can control how often I see someone or how close I get to them, but I can't control actual love. Like, can you make yourself fall in love with someone? No. You also can't make yourself not fall in love with someone. So, I mean,
that's a good point.
In swapping, maybe there's some of that where you can be like, yes, it is only sex and there's no, friendship. But once you start getting into, friends with sex and then the little romance creeps in, love comes in, ouch.
Yeah.
The very next one, and one of the biggest ones, is new relationship energy. When you are starting a new relationship with someone and you're very excited about it, just quell your excitement around your existing partners. Don't be an idiot. Don't sit around and go, so-and-so is so dreamy. And then be like, oh, oops, did I say that? I actually had a partner one time look at me and he said, wow, you're Stephanie's hot. And I was just like, are you
Did
fucking?
he start with saying you're?
Yeah.
You're.
Yeah. He was like going to give me a compliment. And then he just goes, Stephanie's hot. And I was like, okie dokie, you're in trouble now.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and it was, and actually I made a joke out of it because I was like, yes, you're right. And now you have to perform oral sex on me for 2 hours because you said that.
While I poop in your mouth.
I poop in your mouth, yes. So yeah, watch your new relationship energy. Monitor your levels. Make sure that you're coming to your partner with the same level of love, and remind yourself of all the things that you love about them, even if you're not having NRE with them at that moment. Yeah. Remember that you love them and they are important, and all the wonderful things that you have together.
Well, and I think something that's important that I just want to like tag onto that is that new relationship energy, I bet that really lasts when you're not living with someone. So I think it's especially important to be aware if you are living with someone and you're experiencing new relationship energy with another person. It's very important to keep in mind that might not even, it might take a long time to end if it ever does, because you don't have to do things like talk about whose turn it is to take out the garbage and work out all that tedious minutia that you have to with your domestic partner. All those boner killing moments of living with someone where you have to do all the adulting and the, benign, boring shit. So to keep that in mind and appreciate that you do have that level of security with your domestic partner where you've worked through that stuff and you do work through that stuff is something to be really appreciated. Yeah.
And to know that when you're in new relationship energy with someone, that you are in love with a fantasy of them. You don't quite know them well enough yet to really, really know who they are. So
you don't know how they're going to respond if you say it's your turn to take out the garbage. They might be a total asshole.
Yeah. Or like you walk in to take your shower and they just took a dump. It's a fantasy. Enjoy it while it lasts, but also don't try to make your partner enjoy it, because I don't know many people who can do compersion to that extent. That is some next level compersion. I couldn't do it. No way.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. I made good points there at the end. Boom shaka.
So what did we make? Like 15 pillars. We just made a few more.
We did. We added a few more.
Boom.
Yeah. The more pillars, the better. That's what we say. Pew, pew, pew. Pew, pew, pew. Pew, pew. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Yeah. And we'll see you next Tuesday.
Tuesday.
And don't forget to, like us on. Are we on Facebook?
Yeah. No. Well, it's Facebook leads to YouTube, and there's Twitch and Spotify and podcasts.
Yeah. All right. Well, here we go. Here's my video. You're welcome, and I'm sorry.
Stuff me real good. Eat me all night like you know you should. Yeah. Maybe the next day too. Make some sandwiches.
Were you opening your eyes really wide? Yeah. Okay.
Just making sassy eyes. Bye, everybody. Bye. See you next Tuesday.